Hello everyone, Jennifer Maker here. It is a beautiful day to make something easier together. So whether you're new to the crafting world or a seasoned professional, you probably already know that one of the most popular materials to make crafts with is vinyl. You can use vinyl to make all sorts of things, from coffee mugs to decals for your wall. But if you've been working with vinyl for any length of time, you also know that vinyl can be tricky. It can be hard to weed, position, and lay flat without bubbles or creases because it's just so very sticky. So today I'm going to show you an amazing technique that will take the hassle out of vinyl for real. We will make this beautiful shadow box together using the wet vinyl transfer technique. Let me show you how. Depending on how familiar you are with vinyl, you may or may not know that placing vinyl on anything can be tricky. The vinyl immediately wants to stick, making it really hard to put it exactly where you want it. And when you do get it into place, it can be tough to push out all of the bubbles and avoid creases and wrinkles. But there is an easier way, and all it takes is a little soapy water. This soapy water trick is a game changer, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works to make these beautiful, intricately detailed vinyl shadow boxes. For this project, I'm using a 10-inch shadow box. You can use any size you want. You don't even have to use a shadow box at all. You'll also want some permanent vinyl. Any color is fine. And we'll be using regular standard grip transfer tape as well as transfer paper so we can compare them side by side. And to make the magic happen, we're going to use a spray bottle filled with some water and Dawn dish soap. I'll show you exactly how much to put in the bottle in this video. Now to cut the vinyl for our project, I'm going to use a Cricut cutting machine. You can use any Cricut for this project. You'll also want a green machine mat, a weeding tool, a brayer, scraper, some scissors, and a measuring tape. And I'm going to use my Cricut Bright Pad to weed the vinyl so that I can see it better. But this is completely optional, of course. I'll also use some rubbing alcohol and a lint-free cloth like this coffee filter to clean the glass of the shadow box before I apply my vinyl. These gorgeously intricate hearts are perfect for the wet vinyl method, and I'm sharing these designs free with you. So let me show you where to get the intricate heart designs, and then we'll get started. Step 1, get my free intricate heart designs. First, go to jennifermaker.com/370 and look for libraries in the red bar at the top. And then either click Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the Library. You can find the designs by searching the page for design number 370, and then click it to download a zip file with SVG files for cutting on a Cricut or another cutting machine, DXF files, and printable PDFs for cutting by hand. I'm going to show you how to cut these designs on a Cricut cutting machine. First, upload the SVG cut file to Cricut Design Space. If you're unsure how to do this, go to jennifermaker.com/svgs. My design file includes two beautiful and intricate hearts that are perfect for the wet vinyl transfer method. Here's what they both look like in Cricut Design Space. Step 2. Prepare your decals in Design Space. Determine where on the glasses frame you'd like to place your decal and measure the space that you want to fill. I'm using a 10-inch by 10-inch shadow box, and I want the decal to span nearly the width of the glass, so I want my decal to measure about 8 inches wide. To change the size of any decal to fit your space, you can click and drag the resize handle on the bottom right corner of the decal box on the canvas, or you can simply enter the dimensions in the fields under size in the top menu. I will enter 8 under width and keep the padlock locked to maintain the proportions. And that's all we have to do. Now select your machine and the top menu bar and click Make It. Unless you're using Smart Vinyl on a Cricut Maker 3, Explorer 3, or Joy, you'll want to select On Mat and click Done. If you don't see this box, don't worry about it. We can apply the decal on the inside of the shadow box glass or the outside. If you want to put your decal on the inside, be sure that your vinyl is the same color on both the inside and outside, so be sure to check a corner. And then know that you have to cut your decal in reverse. To do this, click the toggle under Mirror to select that option. If you plan to put it on the outside of the glass, you can skip this step, and you don't want to mirror it. And then click Continue. Select your base material when prompted. I used Premium Vinyl Permanent in red. If you don't see the material that you're using for under Favorites or Popular, click Browse All Materials to search for it. And I always recommend more pressure to ensure the best cut. If you're using a machine mat like I am, place your vinyl on a green standard grip machine mat. The vinyl should be placed in the top upper left-hand corner of the mat with the shiny side up. Step 3. Cut and weed your vinyl. When you're all set, load your machine mat into your Cricut and press the flashing button to begin. Once the cut is finished, unload your mat, flip it over onto your work surface, and gently peel the mat away from the vinyl. Now weed your design carefully, removing all of the excess vinyl that you do not need. Be sure that all the small dots and pieces stay adhered to the carrier sheet, while making sure you remove all the small centers to your letters. If you struggle with weeding like I do, you are not alone. Trust me, weeding is my least favorite thing, but I do have some tips that will help you. You can find them over on my blog at jennifermaker.com/Cricut tips. Step 4. Apply transfer tape or transfer paper. I cut 2 of the same designs. We will add transfer tape to one and transfer paper to the other so you can see the difference. We'll start with the one with transfer tape. So first cut a piece of Cricut transfer tape, standard grip, not strong grip, a size just a little larger than your vinyl decal. Remove the backing from the transfer tape. Apply the transfer tape to your vinyl decal by holding the tape in the shape of a taco or a U shape, and then put the bottom of your taco onto the middle of your design, and then smooth outward from the center. And here's a tip. Try to line up the lines of your transfer tape with the edges of your carrier sheet. The straighter your transfer tape is, the easier it is to align your decal on your frame. Smooth the tape over the decal from the center outward, making sure to press out and remove any bubbles. When the transfer tape is in place, use a scraper tool to transfer the vinyl decal design to the transfer tape. It's important to scrape it well to transfer the decal. It helps to scrape it from both the transfer tape side and the carrier sheet side. Next, let's apply the transfer paper to our design. It goes on pretty much the same way that I described with the Cricut transfer tape. But again, if you can get it onto your carrier sheet as straight as possible, that will help you later on. Step 5, prepare the frame. Now we will prepare our shadow box. If your frame glass has protective plastic on it, be sure to remove it. Also remove the back of the frame. And thoroughly clean both sides of the glass with some rubbing alcohol using a lint-free cloth or a coffee filter. I use cardstock as my background inside the shadow boxes. Measure the size of the inner backer board to see what size cardstock you'll need. You can use a Cricut trimmer or a pair of scissors to cut your cardstock down to size if necessary. For my intricate hearts frame, I used a single piece of 12 by 12 inch cardstock cut down to 10 by 10 inches to fit my 10 by 10 inch shadow box. Step 6. Apply the decal using the wet vinyl method. Now let's apply the decal to the glass of the shadow box. We'll start with the transfer tape and soapy water method. First, carefully peel the transfer sheet off the decal. If little bits don't want to transfer to your tape, scrape it again and pay careful attention to those problem areas. Now place that to the side. Next, grab your spray bottle and remove the top. Add 1 drop of Dawn dish soap to 16 ounces of lukewarm water and shake it to mix well. Set the nozzle to a fine mist and sparingly mist the adhesive side of the decal and the glass surface. So you want to put the mist on both the sticky side of your decal and your glass surface. Keep in mind, too much water will prevent your decal from adhering well to the glass. So be sure to spray the minimum amount of water on both surfaces until they are just moistened. Now align your decal on your glass. The soapy water will give you a little flexibility to move the decal around a bit to get it perfectly aligned. Once your decal is straight and centered on the glass, use a scraper tool to carefully push the water outward from the center. You want to remove as much water as possible. You'll notice that as you push the water out, any bubbles or creases will smooth out too. You may want to keep a rag or paper towel handy to help mop up the liquid that you squeeze out. Let your decal dry on the glass for a couple of hours. The exact time will depend on your local climate, of course. Squeegeeing your decal every so often with a scraper tool while it dries will help quicken the process too. Once your decal seems dry, carefully peel up a corner of the transfer tape and make sure the decal is adhered. If it is, then peel back the transfer tape against itself to remove it. You can see from the underside of the glass that there are no bubbles in the vinyl. Isn't that amazing? Now let's test out the transfer paper to see how it compares. I followed all the same steps as I just showed you, but this time I applied the transfer paper decal instead of the transfer tape. Step 7. What worked better? While I found that both transfer tape and transfer paper worked, the transfer paper was a little easier to work with. The transfer tape slides around a little more freely, but with a much shorter time frame to get the decal in place because it grabs the glass fairly quickly compared with the transfer paper. The transfer paper doesn't glide quite as freely, but it allows more playtime. I could even lift it completely off the glass without the vinyl grabbing in the beginning. And while the transfer tape required waiting about 2 hours until the decal was dry enough to peel the tape off without the vinyl lifting off the glass, with the transfer paper, I could peel it off a little earlier, about after 45 minutes, while it was still wet. Your wait time may be even shorter if you live in a drier climate than I do. Overall, it was just easier to place the decal on the glass using the transfer paper. The wait time was shorter, and the paper released from the vinyl very easily. But either way, both transfer types, transfer tape or transfer paper, work. You decide which one you want to use. Step 8, show it off. Now let's put our shadow box back together and show it off. First, place the glass in your frame. If you mirrored your image before cutting it, make sure that the decal is on the inside. Layer your piece of cardstock and backer piece in the frame and then close it all up. My frame sandwiched together very easily, so I didn't glue or tape my cardstock down. Depending on your frame, you may want to secure your cardstock to the backer piece. This is what my finished intricate hearts frame looks like. And this is a comparison between the two wet vinyl methods using transfer tape and transfer paper. You'll notice they both turned out perfectly. Now, if you have any questions about applying vinyl, either the traditional way or with the wet technique that I didn't get answered here, or anything else craft related that I can help you with, please let me know. Just leave your question below this video or ask over in our Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters. And be sure to share your photos with me there too. I love to see what you make. Now, to learn how to put vinyl onto wine glasses, watch my easy personalized wine glasses video. And if you want to see how to make things with multiple colors, watch my how to layer vinyl decals video. That's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.